In 1981, 7 engineers pooled together rupees 10,000. That's it. That was the entire starting capital of what would become one of the most valuable technology companies on the planet. No investor, no fancy office, no connections in America. Just 7 people, a borrowed idea, and a country that most of the world hadn't even heard of yet. Today, Infosys is worth over rupees 6 lakh crore. It operates in 56 countries. It employs over 3.3 lakh people. And it didn't just build itself, it built the entire Indian IT industry from scratch. How do you go from rupees 10,000 to rupees 6 lakh crore? That's exactly what we are going to find out. Welcome back to India's Top 10. I am Yashaswini. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly how Infosys cracked a global market that nobody in India had touched before. You're going to learn why being first matters more than being the best. And you're going to learn the business strategy, first mover advantage combined with the global delivery model. That didn't just make Infosys rich, it made India the IT capital of the world. This is episode 7 and this one is personal because this story is about what happens when ordinary people refuse to think small. It's 1981. India is a completely different country. No liberalisation, no IT boom, no Bangalore tech parks. Computers were rare, expensive, and most Indians had never touched one. The idea of an Indian company selling software to American corporations was genuinely laughable. And then 7 engineers decided to do exactly that. N.R. Narayan Murthy, Nandan N.S. Gopal Krishnan, S.D. Shibulal, N.S. Raghavan, and Ashok Arora. 7 friends, 7 engineers, all working at a company called Patni Computer Systems. Murthy had a vision. He wanted to build a company, a proper company that sold software services to Western clients, not locally but globally. He went to his colleagues, he pitched them, he asked them to quit their stable jobs and bet on an idea that had never been done before in India. 6 of them said yes. Murthy's wife, Sudha Murthy, gave him rupees 10,000 from her personal savings. She said, "And this is real. This is for your business, don't ask me for more." That 10,000 became Infosys. They registered the company in Pune. They had no clients, no office of their own, and a market, America, that was 13,000 kilometers away. But they had something nobody else in India had at that moment. They had the audacity to show up first. Imagine you are Narayan Murthy in 1982. You've quit your job, you've taken your wife's savings, you're trying to sell software to American companies from a small Pune apartment, and every single day the world is telling you this is a terrible idea. The Indian government in 1981 was a nightmare for tech entrepreneurs. You needed government permission to import a computer, one computer. It took years of paperwork, bureaucracy, and waiting. Murthy once said it took him 3 years to get a single computer imported. 3 years to get one computer for a software company? Oh my god, that's insane. The foreign exchange rules were brutal. Sending money in and out of India was complicated and heavily restricted. Serving American clients, getting paid in dollars, was an administrative war every single day. And American companies, they didn't trust Indian firms. Why would they? India had no track record in global software, no reputation, no proof of quality. For the first few years, Infosys survived on one client, a single American company called Data Basics Corporation. That one client and the sheer stubbornness of 7 people who refused to quit is what kept Infosys alive through the 1980s. Most companies would have folded. most people would have gone back to their safe jobs. But 1991 was coming, and 1991 changed everything. 1991, India opens its economy, liberalisation, foreign investment, import restriction lifted. Suddenly, the walls that had trapped Infosys for a decade came crashing down. And Infosys was ready, because while every other company was still figuring out that a global software market existed, Infosys had already been operating in it for 10 years. They had the clients, they had the processes, they had the reputation, they had the relationships. This is the power of showing up first. When the world catches up, you're already miles ahead. But Moti and his team didn't just ride the wave. They built something that no one had ever built before in the industry. They called it the global delivery model. Here's what it looked like. An American company needs 200 software engineers to build a product in America that costs millions of dollars per year. Infosys said, let us do it from India. Same quality, a fraction of the cost. We'll hire the best engineers from IITs and NITs, train them rigorously, and deliver the work remotely. American companies looked at the numbers. They couldn't argue with the numbers. The contracts started flooding in. General Electric, Boeing, Visa, Reebok, the biggest names in American business, choosing Infosys, choosing India. In 1993, Infosys became the first Indian IT company to list on the NASDQ, the American Stock Exchange. It was a signal to the world. India had arrived. By 1999, Infosys had crossed $1 million in revenue. By 2004, $1 billion. The trajectory was vertical, and something even bigger was happening. Other companies were watching Infosys, watching the model, watching the proof that this worked. And slowly, Wipro did it, TCS did it, HCL did it, hundreds of smaller companies did it. Infosys didn't just build a company, it built an industry. The entire Indian IT sector, worth over $250 billion today, traces its blueprint back to what 7 people started with rupees 10,000 in a Pune apartment. Let's talk about what Infosys looks like today. Market capital over rupees 6 lakh crore. Revenue over $18 billion annually. Employs 3.3 lakh people from 56 countries, working on projects for the most powerful companies on earth. Narayan Murthy became one of India's most celebrated businessmen. But here's the thing about him that's different from most billionaires. He retired from Infosys in 2011. He gave most of his wealth away, and he said something that stuck with me. We want to be globally respected corporation, not the biggest, not the richest, respected. Nandan, the co-founder, went on to lead creation of Aadhaar, the digital identity system that today covers over 1 billion Indians. The man who helped build India's IT industry also built India's digital identity infrastructure from rupees 10,000 idea. And Sudha Murthy, who gave the first rupees 10,000, she became one of India's most beloved authors, philanthropists, and recently was nominated to the Rajya Sabha. The woman behind the beginning got the recognition she always deserved. This is not just a business story, this is an Indian story. Now, here's the part where we zoom out. Because what Infosys did has a name. 2 names actually, and both are taught at every serious business school in the world. The first is first mover advantage, and the second is global delivery model. And together they are one of the most powerful combinations in business history. Imagine your colony is getting a new park and there is a small shop right at the entrance. Whoever opens a shop there first gets every single person who walks in. The second shop, the third shop, they all fight for whoever's left. Being first doesn't mean being perfect. It means you get to set the standard, you get to build the relationships, you get to establish the trust. And by the time competitors arrive, your customers already know you, already trust you, already have contract with you. Infosys walked into the American software market in 1981 when no other Indian company had the courage or the vision to go there. They weren't the best company in the world, they were the first Indian company in that space. And that first mover position gave them a decade-long head start that no competitor could erase. When 1991 came and the whole world suddenly wanted what Infosys was selling, Infosys already had the shop front, already had the customers, already had the trust. That is the first mover advantage. The rewards of being early last far longer than the rewards of being better. Now the second piece, the global delivery model. This is Infosys' own invention, and it is arguably the single most impactful business model to come out of India in the 20th century. Before Infosys, the world assumed that to do work, everyone had to be in the same room, same office, same city, same country. Infosys said, what if the work happens here and the client is there? They built a system, rigorous training programs, quality standards that matched or exceeded Western companies, communication structures, project management frameworks, all designed to deliver world-class work from India to the world. The cost arbitrage was staggering. An American software engineer cost $1 lakh a year. An equally qualified Indian engineer at Infosys, a fraction of that. For a global company, moving even 30% of their tech work to Infosys saved hundreds of millions of dollars. The global delivery model became the template. Every IT company in India, TCS, Wipro, HCL, Tech Mahindra, copied it. It is the reason India today earns over $250 billion a year in IT exports. It is the reason Bangalore became the Silicon Valley of Asia. Infosys didn't just find a market, they invented a new way for the world to work. First mover advantage taught in every strategy course tells us that the first company to enter a market builds relationships, reputation, and systems that competitors must work twice as hard to match. The key risk being too early for a market that doesn't exist yet. Infosys solved this by entering just as demand was about to explode. Global delivery model, Infosys' original innovation, is now studied as the defining example of how labor arbitrage plus quality standardization can create a brand new industry. It's in Harvard Business School case studies, Stanford business courses, and even IIM curriculum as the framework that globalized India's economy. The combined lesson: show up first, build the system, deliver so well that when the world catches up, they come to you. And the personal lesson for all of us watching: you don't need the most money, you don't need the best connection. Narayan Murthy started with rupees 10,000 and 7 friends. What you need is the courage to go somewhere nobody else has gone yet. So that's Infosys, rupees 10,000, 7 engineers, 1 wife who believed, and the audacity to show up in a market that didn't know India existed yet. They didn't just build a company, they built India's place in the global economy. And it all started because one man asked, why can't it be us? That's episode 7. Next, episode 6, and we are going to somewhere completely different. We're talking about Bajaj Auto, the company that put India on 2 wheels, the brand that made a scooter so iconic it became a symbol of an entire generation. The strategy next episode will uncover it then. Now, one question for you. If you had rupees 10,000 today and 7 friends who believed in you, what would you build? Comment down. Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, trust me. Subscribe, follow, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in episode 6. Thank you so much for watching till here. See you in the next one. Bye.